All right, so imagine this. What if all that cash in your wallet, the bills and coins, was replaced by a purely digital version? And what if that digital money was controlled directly by the government? Well, today we're diving right into that exact idea. We're talking about central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, a technology that, seriously, could change everything about how we think of money. So let's just cut to the chase and ask the biggest question right up front. Is this it? Is this the end of cash? Are those bills and coins you've got rattling around in your pocket about to become, well, relics of the past? Okay, to get our heads around that, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll see how, in a lot of ways, money is already digital. Then, we'll nail down what exactly a CBDC is. After that, we'll get into the really juicy stuff, the case for them and the pretty serious case against them. And then at the end, we'll circle all the way back to that big question, is cash actually over? Right. So before we jump into the future of money, let's take a hard look at the present. Because, this whole idea of a central bank digital currency, it can sound like something straight out of science fiction. But you'd probably be surprised just how much of the groundwork has already been laid. I mean, think about it. For most of us, money is already just a number on a screen, right? When was the last time you actually paid for, say, your groceries or a new pair of shoes with a big wad of physical cash? Probably been a while. We tap, we swipe, we use apps for pretty much everything. And as you can see here, physical cash is actually a surprisingly small slice of the whole pie. Okay, and this is the most important distinction we're going to make. The digital money you see in your banking app right now is fundamentally different from a CBDC. That money in your account, it's basically an IOU from your commercial bank. It's a promise they'll pay you. A CBDC, on the other hand, that's something else entirely. It's a direct claim on the central bank itself. So that brings us to the big question. What exactly is a central bank digital currency? What is a CBDC? Let's get a really clear, simple definition, because this is the core of everything we're talking about today. Okay, in the simplest terms, a CBDC is like a digital banknote. Think of a digital dollar or a digital euro. The key phrase here is that it's a direct liability of the central bank. Now, that sounds a bit technical, but all it really means is that it's a direct IOU from the central government to you. It's not an IOU from a private company like your bank. It's the official, honest-to-goodness real deal. And this table here just lays it all out perfectly. You see your commercial bank money? That's on the bank. But look at physical cash and a CBDC. Both of them are issued by and are a liability of the central bank. And honestly, that one little shift in that last row, from a private company's IOU to the government's IOU, that is the absolute game changer. That's the whole ballgame. So what would this actually look like in your day-to-day life? Well, it could be super simple. Imagine you're buying a coffee. You just use a digital wallet on your phone. But here's the cool part. Instead of that payment bouncing around between a bunch of different commercial banks, it goes straight to the central bank's own digital ledger. They verify it, they settle it, boom, done. We're talking almost instantaneous. Okay, so now that we know what it is and how it might work, you're probably asking the obvious question. Why? What's the point of all this? And it's a great question, especially when you hear that over 100 countries are already looking into this stuff, with some even launching their own. Well, the people who are for this idea, they see some massive potential upsides. We're talking about making payments way more efficient and cheaper. Imagine sending money across the world and having it arrive in seconds, not days. They also talk about boosting financial inclusion, giving millions of people who don't have bank accounts access to the financial system. And of course, for governments, it could be a brand new powerful tool to fight things like money laundering and to implement economic policy more directly. But as with any huge new idea, it is definitely not all sunshine and rainbows. There is another side to this story, a very strong case against CBDCs that brings up some really serious, really legitimate concerns. Okay, so what are the big worries? Well, number one on the list for a lot of people is privacy. Major privacy concerns. A fully centralized digital currency could, in theory, allow a government to see every single thing you buy. That, in turn, opens the door to more government control over your money. Then you've got the huge cybersecurity risks. I mean, hacking a single system could threaten an entire country's economy. And let's not forget about the people who aren't comfortable with tech, who could get left behind in a completely digital world. All right, so we've heard the good and we've heard the bad. After weighing all of that, these really powerful arguments on both sides, let's bring it all home and go back to that very first question we asked. What's the final verdict on cash?
Well, the real answer here is it's complicated. There's no easy yes or no. Look, the world is absolutely moving in a more digital direction. That's undeniable. But physical cash still has some pretty amazing features that digital money just can't replicate. It's anonymous, it's private, it works when the internet is down or the power is out, and it makes sure that everyone can participate, no matter their access to technology. So the future isn't likely an either-or situation. It's probably going to be a mix of both.
And you can really see this complexity playing out on the world stage. This isn't some single global race where everyone's trying to cross the same finish line. You've got countries like the Bahamas and Nigeria that have already fully launched one. Then you have giants like China that are deep into massive pilot programs. And then you have a whole bunch of others, like the US and the UK, that are still just in the research phase, carefully weighing all the pros and cons we just talked about. And I think that brings us to the most crucial point of all. When you strip it all down, this whole debate, it's not really about technology. It's about values. It's about what we as a society want our money to be. What do we prioritize? Is it maximum efficiency or is it absolute privacy? Is it government control or individual freedom? Is it universal access? The answers we choose for those questions, well, that's what will truly shape the future of money. And so that's really the final thought to leave you with. As all this technology keeps moving forward, the most important question isn't just what governments or central banks are going to do. The real question is for you. What kind of money do you want to have in your wallet in the future, and what role do you want it to play in your life?